live. Welcome everybody to episode 3 of the Level Up Your Wealth podcast, proudly sponsored by the gamers at Tomes Financial. I'm one of your hosts, Marcus Howard, joined by the one and only Mario Payne. Mario, please introduce yourself.
What's going on, y'all? I hope all is well. It's a beautiful day in Jacksonville as we talk about gaming. Mario Payne, your gaming CFP. Of course, as you know, I've been practicing for 16 years, been a certified financial planner for 11 years, Madden enthusiast, and I'm just happy to be here, Marcus. Mr. Esports, just happy to be here.
Appreciate that. Likewise. And then we're also joined by also the one and only Sebastian Chosen one. Chosen one, the golden one. Welcome to the show, Chosen.
What's up, y'all? How are you? How you feeling? How you feeling? That's for out in the world and you too. I don't know. I'm talking to everybody involved. How you doing? How you doing? I don't get out much.
So I was just explaining to Mario that used to be nationally ranked in Tekken, and he used to play Tekken back in the day. So, wanted you to talk a little bit about that experience being nationally ranked. And before you do that, shout out to everybody who's joining us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. We appreciate your support. Let us know in the comments. We want to give you a shout out. But yeah, Sebastian, talk a little bit about that experience.
So the FGC or the fighting game community would hold me hostage and have my head if I got up here and lied and said that I was nationally ranked in Tekken. I was not. I was ranked in DOA and Soul Calibur. Now, at least Soul Calibur is made by the same company, Namco Bandai. So I feel like by proxy, I could just say I was good at Tekken, and I was. And if I would have been able to prove that tonight had we not had technical difficulties. But I'm not tripping because I probably played too much Tekken. Still trying to be nationally ranked, even though I'm in a whole different world now. So shout out to Ann Murphy all the way from Oregon. You're my first Oregon this year.
Yeah, go Ducks, Oregon or Oregon State.
Go Ducks.
Man. So is that your go-to game, Tekken?
No, Dead or Alive was my go-to game. Good evening for Australia. Lord, they coming in from all over the world.
Throw that boomerang.
All the Gold Coast. I'm trying to go there. Tekken, Dead or Alive was actually the game that I'm very, very, very familiar with. It was if you see my profile, it says I came up off the Xbox. It should say I came up with the Xbox and Dead or Alive because that was the game that like really helped me get to the level of success that I've seen in both the game and in the industry. I give a lot of credit to Dead or Alive all the time.
So I ain't gonna date myself. I'm 41. I ain't the oldest or the youngest, but I used to play some Street Fighter arcade style. So is it a beef between Tekken and Street Fighter, or is this just one game to another?
So we call it the fighting game community, and there's layers to a reason why fighting games are kind of all clustered together. Like if you go to a Call of Duty event, you won't see any Gears of War or Halo. And if you go to a Halo event, you won't see any Call of Duty, right? But in the fighting game world, tournaments are usually structured where all of those games you just listed are at one event. For example, shout out to James Fudge. He just shared that EVO is having record numbers this year. EVO is the largest fighting game community event in the world. And you'll see Street Fighter, Marvel, Mortal Kombat. It's all of them all at the Mandalay Bay Center, the Mandalay Bay at Mandalay Bay. So you'll see them all in one place. It's not usually a beef. When I was coming up, it was like you tried to be good at all of them, and it really only started like this last generation. I'd say the 2010s, because this has been out since like the 80s. So I'd say like since the 2010s, you really didn't have people who were the best at all of them. But then this new generation of kids came. Like kids now, they're like 23, 24. So maybe 10 years ago, they were 13, 14, 15. They were the first generation of this fighting game community that you had people winning, walking away with multiple, a Street Fighter medal and a Tekken medal and a DOA medal and a Guilty Gear medal. Like they all, 8 games in the building, and they're walking away with 4 or 5 medals. So, that was the first time we started seeing that, like 2013, 2014, 2015. I've been in it since 2005. So that was pretty new when you saw that. As far as a beef goes, some people like 3D fighters. Some people like 2D fighters. Some people don't like fighting games at all.
So let's talk about the medals, because we talk about I am a certified financial planner, so we talk about the bags, right? So if we win us a medal, what type of bag is that? Is that a couple thousand? Is that 10,000? What's the highest purse you've seen at one of the tournaments?
So what's super dope is that like I'm in a Discord with a couple friends, and what's cool is I was just talking to them yesterday, and I was telling them how this is a new time and era because Street Fighter 6 just released last month. So, you come from the classic Street Fighter days, so do I. The sixth iteration just came out last month.
You can.
Yeah, right? Shoryukens all day. So that one just came out, and not only did Capcom announce a $2 million prize pool, but there's so many players in it now that there's a platform called Matcherino, which is basically like crowd-funded prize pools. So like the audience who watches the Twitch stream can fund the prize pool to make the prize pool larger. I mean, I watch every single week at least 5 to 10 grand going out between the tournaments on the East Coast, West Coast, South, and North. So it is becoming now like a full-time job as a Street Fighter player to be able to win your weeklies, which are like me and you right now just playing, and then at the end of the night, somebody out of 200, 300 people is going to win $1,000. That's every week and like 3 times a week. And then, of course, you have your major tournaments, which will bring a purse of, now you have like 1,000 people showing up, 1,200 people showing up in Philly or Jacksonville or Tampa. In fact, Tampa has a huge community that throws a tournament every week called Tampa Never Sleeps. And so Tampa Never Sleeps, again, is a Matcherino-based tournament. They throw, $1,000 every week. Somebody's winning that, right? And then you're going to have down in Florida CEO, which is just passed, but it's a huge fighting game tournament that had 1,000 entrants. And the prize purse there, I think, was north of $10,000. But of course, all of these events, which are both digital and physical, shout out to Matt, who just joined. That's my guy, Matthew Hickson. So you got your weeklies. That's online. That's in the comfort of your home while you're having your Taco Bell and whatever you're eating. And then you got your like locals, like I said, CEO down there in Daytona. And then you have Capcom themselves throwing the Capcom Cup, which is like the corporate sponsored one, for $2 million, where the first place person is winning $2 million, second place wins $750,000, and third place wins $75,000, which is still good. But I got a feeling that if you drop a combo that separates you from third to second, you're gonna have a bad ride home, because second is $750,000, and third is $75,000. So I almost believe you better play real perfect when you get to the end. Those last 3-4 people, mistakes are going to be very, very, very costly. But it definitely has become a more lucrative sport than when I was playing professionally. You had to have, it was a labor of love when I was playing it, but now you can definitely get paid for sure. And then you add on top of that, a lot of these guys who are winning these weeklies, right? They're winning like $1,000 a week. They're also popular streamers, so they're making money. They're winning these tournaments, and during the tournament, again, I'm just online playing against Mario in a Tampa Never Sleeps tournament, and I'm just going to stay online for the 5 hours it takes for the tournament to happen. And in that 5 hours, I might control 8,000 viewers. So in every time I run an ad, I might make $16. And I might run ads for 5 hours, right? So I might make $200-$300, $400-$500 on the night. Then I might win the tournament for $1,000, and then CEO might be next week, and I might get 5th and win $5,000. So it's like it's becoming much more of a circuit, and I love to see it.
Yeah. And that James, possibly you're right, man. Crowdfunded prize, that's crazy. Like, I didn't even think about that. So how is that paid? Well, first off, let's go back to the second place to third place. So you gaming right now, you feeling it right, you in the semifinals. Now it's a drop between second place and third place. Are you more offensive, or are you like Floyd and being more defensive?
It depends. That's a great question. That's a really good question. It depends. It depends on who you use.
Okay.
Who are 2 Street Fighter characters? Tell me 2 Street Fighter characters you know.
Oh, of course you got to go with Ryu and E Honda.
Okay.
Look, I got carpal tunnel, man. Pushing those arcade buttons with E Honda with the.
All right. So So E Honda is going to be a different strategy than Ryu. And also, Ryu versus E Honda is different than Ryu versus Ken. So
Okay.
those are nuances that you would need to know what you're gonna do. But then again, if you're aggressive, you're aggressive. If you're defensive, you're defensive. It's a potpourri of all these things that make your decision in 99 seconds in your life bar become very, very valuable when you have, mistakes are costly between 750,000 and $75,000. That's for sure. Like mistakes are very, very costly. And Street Fighter, of all fighting games, the reason it's the largest and has the longest legacy is it is the most disciplined. Make no mistake. Of all the fighting games, and I am not what you would call a Street Fighter player. I enjoy it, but I do not call myself a Street Fighter player. And that is on purpose because Street Fighter is the highest discipline. Because if you make a mistake, you will be punished. Unforgivable.
Yeah. So from 75,000 to 75. Man, Marcus, that's like a fixer upper in Tampa Bay, right?
Let me win 75,000.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So is it so are the payments in money or are they in Bitcoin or ETH?
I think they were trying. A lot of these series were looking into crowdfunded coins, etc. Last year, but I think with everything that's kind of happened on that market cooling off a bit, people still like cold hard cash. So, they're still doing it like that. It'll be probably $750,000 check you get.
Ooh, got me a check. I got a check.
So how much time do you have to put in to win something like that, Sebastian? I know that you had to make the decision when you were in school, right? Do you want to continue to go the traditional route or the amount of effort and time, commitment, discipline it takes to win something like that?
Yeah. A way to transfer that. Yeah. It wasn't. It was. Listen. I do often talk about foregoing college. I am not telling anybody to forego college. That is not what I'm telling you because everybody's route is different and there are benefits that college provides that I did not receive. Alumni network being one of them. Luckily, I have Marcus and Mario. They're great alumni partners to help me get out in the world. But college can give you experiences and a network that is absolutely irreplaceable. So I don't want to be up here telling you not to go to college. I do want to tell you that those things I just mentioned that are really valuable, they do have a price tag. So, balance it out to your situation. Now, I had to decide how I was going to make it in gaming, but I always knew that I was able to be a bit of a showman. And I always knew that I didn't have to be the best, but I needed to find a way to make a career because I knew that nothing else was attracting my intent to learn and passion for what I was doing, like video games. I was blessed to get that quick. Like that's one thing I look back on. I'm like, man, some people get lost for a while. By 19, I was like, yeah, nah, like this is what I have to do. This is like my thing. So but you have to put time in. Just like anything else, you have to put time in. There's nobody. I mean, we're just pressing buttons. So all three of us can do that. The difference is while you guys were hanging with the girls and getting your degrees, I was in my room with Pop-Tarts and a controller.
So let's talk about that because you're definitely right. Like, and I'm kind of biased, right? So I graduated from Tennessee State. I actually kind of helped. Well, not kind of. I helped manage their endowment. I'm on their foundation board. So a little bit biased when it comes to
It's
school.
amazing.
But I tell people all the time, like I learn more stuff about myself, my personality, how I interact with people in different groups and social settings than actual education. So you are 100% right. Um, book smart is book smart, but it's street smart is street smart. Two different things, and you learn a lot of ancillary things in school. But what are some characteristics a person needs if they want to be a professional gamer like you and kind of go through the game industry and really kind of grow like you did? What are some traits that you think they need to have, and what are some characteristics they need to develop to kind of go that route like you did?
I think if you're trying to be a player, it's important that you recognize that just like anything else, again, it's practice. I probably became one of the top 5 dead or alive players in the world for a short span, and I would say like at that point I was just playing so much DOA that it was like inevitable. Looking back from a distance, hindsight gets stronger the further you get away, and it's like now that's 10 years ago, and I look back and I'm like, all right, like that's all I did. You know what I mean? That's why I said, like, I was just, while you guys were hanging out, I was in my room with the game. That's what I was doing, you know, and proudly, like, you know, that's what I wanted to do. That's who I was. I mean, you know, like when I first started rapping, I rapped about games. I have a song in Dead or Alive. So like, you know, when you turn it on, that's me rapping. I mean, it's like all I did was DOA. I knew everything about my character, your character, this stage, what happens in the water, what happens on the land, the music, the themes, you know, everything on the forums back when people used to have forums. Now we have Facebook, but that was like my life. So of course, look what unfolded, all these opportunities as a player, right? Because anytime that play was what the balance for me to have success was, I was well prepared. And you know, success is just opportunity and preparation coming together. So, you know, I just feel like if as long as you're prepared, you can make it outside of being a player, because there's going to be a small amount, even with this bigger FGC now, what we just talked about, it's going to be a small amount of people making a livable salary from being a player. But that's not like to say video games are a waste of time, because the last time I checked, there's only 400 spots in the NBA, and I can go outside and find 400 basketball players in 45 minutes out here in LA. So, you know, it's just a small niche for any group to be at a professional level, um, where the hours are worth the work you put in. So if you think about it, um, it's really an opportunity for you to shout out to my man Charlie. Good to see you, Charlie.
Yeah,
Good to see you. You know, is oh, you put him on the screen? That's dope. Yeah, that's my boy Charlie.
that's good.
So like anything else, and I'm sure Mario Marcus, you can attest to this. It's like straight up, like if you can't be the best, you got to find a way to to use what you've built and your natural skills to find your niche in the industry. And shout out to my friend Swoozy. He taught me that a long time ago. Um, he taught me like, you know, sometimes you can't be the player, but you can be the commentator.
Mm.
Sometimes you can't be the commentator, but you can be the host.
Unless you're Jeff Van Gundy, he just got fired after 20 years of
I
ESPN.
can't believe that. I just posted on my Instagram yesterday that I can't believe they broke that up. Like I want answers. I'm not even
Yeah,
just cool with that.
facts. Yeah,
I'm not
facts.
even
Yeah,
just. I want to make that clear. Matter of fact, Bob Iger, if you hear me, I want you to know I'm not just cool. Like that ruined a lot of things for me. I sipped my coffee and spit it the whole commercial and everything. I'm not just cool with Van Gundy going away.
yeah, yeah,
Jeff, we support you, man. We rock
yeah,
with you. You made the NBA dope for the last 20 years. I can't believe I'm upset.
yeah, yeah.
I'm upset.
And
So
so I think I know side note, but I think he got a little bit too comfortable. Like I remember watching the finals, and it was a bad call. He was like, you know what? We just need to fire all the refs. I was like, you know what? That's when you're too comfortable with your job. You're just gonna fire all the refs. Just forget about them all.
yeah, you know what? Like I feel like he's earned that tenure.
Yeah. Oh
Okay,
yeah, of course.
he's earned that tenure. Him and Mark Jackson are fantastic. But Ann wants me to ask or kind of get back into that, and I don't want to get away. Mario, we'll get offline and talk about that because I am
Yeah.
upset. You're gonna help me pen the letter.
Okay.
um, so Ann, I and everybody listening, a key for me when you talk about different roles in the esports industry, you just need to see it as a esports, particularly. I'll start at esports because that's what she talked about. That is a small part of the video game industry. What you'll notice is a lot of people who like esports like the rest of gaming as well. You rarely find someone who likes esports only, exclusively, or the most. Now, I am in that minority. Esports is my favorite part of what we call the cage: cosplay, anime, gaming, and esports. My favorite part is esports, but I'm in the minority. You'll find most people care about cosplay. I mean, there's way more people at Dragon Con and Comic Con than there are at DreamHack and CEO, right? Those are tournaments, esports tournaments, DreamHack and CEO. You're going to find way more people at Comic Con and Dragon Con and MomoCon. Cosplay is way bigger. Anime, it's way more anime viewers than there are Dragon Ball Z Fighters players, right?
Right.
Gaming, there's way more. I mean, no esports show has put up the number one television show in 2023. Last of Us was able to do that, right? And that's just that's a game. That's not an esport. That's a game. So all other parts of the cage, cosplay, anime, gaming, esports, they're all bigger than that last E. But in esports, I mean, right now, and there's an open space for anybody who's innovative, and anybody who's willing to batten down the hatches, because as you can see, there's been a big schism with a lot of money that bloated up the space with the idea of what esports should be, what it should look like, and that didn't really come from experts. And so what happens is now that the returns have been lower, everybody's kind of exiting, and it's kind of going back to where it was 3 4 years ago. So to answer your question, and really, there's plenty of roles from the basic, broadcasting and kind of entertainment side of it. You can be a content creator. People are eating up esports information. You can just talk about, things that are happening around the space, kind of like Marcus and Mario do. You can create a team, right? Like you don't need nothing to really create a team legitimately. You can create a team as long as you guys show up to play. More and more games are going online, and having that being the legit form of competition. 5 years ago, you couldn't have online as a legit or 10 years ago, I'd say, you couldn't have online be the legit form of competition. Travel was a part of it because the internet in America wasn't strong enough. But as America's internet has moved up to 5G and 1,000 terabytes at home, right? You can now, like I said, these Street Fighter tournaments are weekly online. So you're starting to get where you can gather a group and call it whatever you want and build a brand that way. And of course, you can just be, an independent owner of, you start your own league, start your own thing. Really, the space is open like that. Again, that's esports, and I would say that gaming, it gets even wider because now you're talking about development, now you're talking about marketing, now you're talking about business development, now you're talking about financial, right? I mean, gaming is huge, so that's a huge consumer entertainment industry. So the opportunities are endless. I just think it's important for you to know what you like to do. Don't get one thing I was lucky to know is like I like entertaining. I like talking, as you guys can see as this timer runs and I won't stop. Um, I like it. So I knew young, I was like, yeah, I can talk. I talk a lot of trash while I'm playing. I'm like, I'm pretty good at this. So it was good for me to know that to get into the kind of next steps of my career.
That's the same thing I tell parents when they reach out to me and say, "Hey, my son or my daughter wants to break into gaming and esports. They love playing video games. Like, what should they do next?" And my very first question to them is like, "What's your son or your daughter's professional interest? Like, what do they want to do?" You got to answer that question first before you really start to look at the opportunity, because it's from what we see, it's all about either competitive play or live streaming, and nothing against those two things, but they're a drop in the bucket to the 100 plus opportunities in the space. So great point, Sebastian.
Yeah, and to take a step further, and you can definitely DM Marcus Esports Howard. I mean, he's helped whole countries, not cities, not states, but countries when it comes to esports. So you definitely have a subject matter expert of all experts, in my opinion. And then once that bag comes, you can call me. We help invest that money as well. So yeah. So as we talk about college, non-college, college, not college. Now, my question was, when it comes to college, do you think colleges will eventually use gaming and esports as a curriculum to kind of bring more individuals into the college fold, as people like yourself were able to make a great living without going to college, or you think that's just kind of two separate worlds that will never mesh?
I think it's already blended. Again, I think like the esports industry, it had some people in it who maybe necessarily didn't come from it. They just saw it as an opportunity, and even that's even on the college and high school level. And so now colleges and schools are kind of like following what other schools did. So it's hard when you don't have you know, trailblazers who are actually educated leading the pack, which it's an open market. So what happens, happens. I'm not one of the people complaining. Entrepreneurship has served me well, so I understand it. But what is important is that colleges are going to have to adapt. The kids who I'll use Tennessee State, HBCU. Shout out to Dr. Afua over there. She's amazing. They have a great esports education system that they're trying to build up over there, and I think it's very valuable to at least dabble in it if you're a school, because the kids of 2023 are more interested in Twitch content creation and the lifestyle that comes with it and the opportunities and career opportunities that maybe for me 08, 09, right? It's just different. They don't even look at things the same. The sophistication's a bit higher. And so I think that the universities and schools will probably need to, it's inevitable. I mean, it already got tried, and I think it's slowed down just because of, again, wasn't really the right leadership at most of the places. Some schools are doing it great, like TSU. But, I think that there's an opportunity for schools to improve, and obviously the benefits would be immense because these kids now, I mean, they're way better. They're way better, and they're smarter, and they have more opportunities. So why not?
Yeah. So to that point, so Dr. Ford, she's at TSU. She's she you said Dr. Ford, if I'm not mistaken.
Ifua, yeah, Ifua. She's a doctor over there, and she leads like the esports department over there.
Okay, yeah. Well, if you're watching, or please hit me up. I'm on the foundation board at TSU. That's my alma mater. So definitely love to see how the foundation can support, because we definitely want to attract the biggest, the brightest, and the smartest to the university. So and salute to her for doing that. So
Yeah, she's fantastic. We'll have to hook you guys up after this call. She's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's a challenge to Sebastian's point about trying to have that right balance of having the academic structure, but also like the practical expertise, right? And Sebastian and I and our colleagues talk about it all the time. Like a lot of the people who are most trained and qualified to have the domain expertise for esports to teach it don't meet the qualifications from the school to teach, right? You have to have like a bachelor's degree, or in some cases a master's degree, to be a professor, or especially if you're gonna have a full professor, you have to be a doctor, right? And as we talked about before, being a professional esports player means that you're gonna retire probably by the time you're 22 or 23. So you got to make a decision between, like, do you want to get your undergrad degree or become a professional? And then now you've got, and nothing against professors who haven't worked in the industry. You got people in the industry who don't have the industry experience to really kind of back up what they're teaching.
So we got a question from Charlie. So we definitely got to ask Sebastian. So, and great question, Charlie. If AI agents become prevalent, and we all know AI is here to stay, but if AI agents become prevalent in esports competitions, how will this impact career opportunities in esports?
Good question. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like can't put the cart before the horse. I'd like to see the example of an AI agent, uh, you know, becoming prevalent. Like if someone, uh, if an AI is able to beat humans and that was allowed or something somehow, then that conversation becomes, um, more relevant. But I think right now it's still PvP, right? Um, but it is a great question because you have companies like NVIDIA creating AI in-game experiences that will literally do something that I didn't know we'd see in our lifetime. And I rarely say that. Marcus will tell you that. I pretty much know that we're gonna advance really fast in this time. But one thing I never thought I'd see is this new NVIDIA technology that literally we can play the same video game and it will craft a unique experience to Mario versus what it will craft for me. Like we can go talk to the same character on the street and say, hey, and press the talk button, and it's going to say something custom to Mario's experience versus custom to my experience. That is changing gaming forever. That's going to change the experience forever because now it's custom one of one. So now if you take that thought process and say the AI in the games, like in competitive mode, the AI will react differently. That is an interesting factor, but I don't know if it matters as much. We got Chile in the house, by the way. Chile is in the house.
Chile,
South
okay.
America's in the building. I don't know that it would affect. And P.S. Fighting game players, I know you feel me out there, Matthew and everybody else, JC. Uh, yeah, we've been dealing with BS AIs for years. Like if you ever play a fighting game and just go to practice mode and turn the AI all the way up, like the skill to max, they be doing stuff humans could never, ever, 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 ever do.
Yeah.
Ever. You could hit him 5 times in a row with a middle punch, and they'd be like, okay, since I did that, now if I go low, it's only logic that he's gonna block middle punch, and the AI will be like, nope, I saw it. It reacts to your inputs. So we've been dealing with that forever.
Yeah.
I think there is I think in 2018 there was a Dota player that lost to AI.
Yeah.
It's hard to see there, but Sebastian talks about this all the time. A lot of the entertainment element, is the people to people interaction.
Sure.
And so
Sure.
if you have bot against bot, like, what are you watching?
Right.
It's a full simulation at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Like, I'm a Madden man. Like, you play all Madden, man. Like, it's like I don't even tackle you, you break my tackle. How's that possible? Like, I don't even hit X and you break it before I hit X.
Right.
Like, what are we doing here?
Right. It's already been there. Video games has already had AI doing things that are questionable. Look how I brought your nerves right back to you, right? You remember that happening to you. That is AI. And that is exactly what it's going to bring to the workforce technology. Obviously kind of preemptively thinking a little bit for you, but it was already thinking for you if you've been playing Madden. Like it already you felt it already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Very interesting story. You're right, Daniel. Which we try to. But as we
Daniel
talk
from
about
Chile.
From Chile. Oh, from Chile. Man. Yeah. Never been to Chile. I've been to Argentina, Boca, for y'all soccer fans. But
I've never been to Argentina, but I have had Chilean sea bass. It's delicioso.
Kind of had that before. I got put on
Chilean
the
sea
list.
bass, great dish.
Yeah.
When we have
So,
lunch, that's what we'll get.
so again, as we talk about from education standpoint, so the average person, 32 to 35, has an average salary of $48,000 a year. So we have the half and half nots, right? Not checking your pockets, but we know that you're able to gross over 100,000 because of the gaming and esports endeavors that you're in. How was you able to become a brand like you are now?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah. So for me, I started in gaming, and I was definitely not even making that. What they make 48,000. Let's just say the average is now.
Average, yeah. Well, with a college, with a high school, I'm not high school, with a college degree, So again, reason why I have this conversation is because, of course, you didn't go to college, but you're able to make more money than a person with their master's, not even left their bachelor. So that's why I asked that question.
I didn't know that. I didn't
I
know
didn't know
that.
that either.
I didn't know that. Yeah, excuse me, y'all. Everybody watching, like I know you probably looking at everybody at home is probably doing the same thing as me. Like he said, how much? You know,
Yeah.
I think here's the deal. College gives you an opportunity to again gain an alumni, build a network, and get tested for things you're gonna get in the workforce. Like you're gonna have things to do in adulthood attached to you, and you're gonna still have to get goals accomplished. So you'll get those things from college. I think that's what Mario was getting at, saying learning himself and learning the things that you develop in those years. Um, I think for me, what I lacked in school, as you said, book smart, I gained from street education. And so I always tell Marcus this. I'm very proud of the fact that I came from poverty. I came from poverty. I used to walk to work. I used to walk a mile and a half to work and then 2 miles to school. No, excuse me, a mile and a half to school, 7 a.m. And this was just like 12 years ago. Like I'm 32, so maybe 18, so 14 years ago. So for me, it's like I remember I used to walk a mile and a half to school every morning in the snow. I'm from Connecticut, in the snow, and then I get out of school on senior release and walk across to my job, which was 2 miles away. So it's 3.5 miles. And then after work, scrubbing pots and pans in the hospital, I'd walk home. And I just remember those walks and like just how much, as long as I can get on Xbox Live, as long as I can afford it, because my income at one point was my household's only income. And so those things, being that young and having to go through that, they built me to be able to then, when I got opportunities, really squeeze the juice out of them because I knew that I needed it to take that next step. So once I went to my first E3, um, once I got to my first PAX, I was able to be on a reality show called Ultimate Gamer. Um, Once I was able to do those things, that's what kind of opened my mind to think like, okay, you don't like I'm getting paid for these things, and I'm just shouting over Dead or Alive at a trade show, which I've dreamed of. I've always watched G4. I always wanted to go to E3. Now I'm here screaming about DOA. They're paying me. I have a hotel. We're going to dinner after this. Like, how do I make this happen more? Because the last tournament I went to, I got 13th place. I got no money. It cost me $600 to get here. I got school on Monday. I got work. I don't know what to do, but this E3 thing is different. And so that led me to finally take interest. Because as you know, a lot of us when we're younger, the gaming is escapism because whatever we're going through or our learning needs are not being met at our school. So we don't know how we learn, right? I learn different, right? I have ADHD. I learn different. So I have to learn in a way that supplies my education so that I can build those blocks and knock down those dominoes so I can get smarter and more self-reliant. But at 18, you're trying to figure all that out. So by the time I started going to E3, I'm like, okay, so people come to this show and most of them work in the media. Okay, so what? And I mean, I'm young. Like I'm like, okay, what is media? I hear everybody keep saying media, trade show, this, that, and those are things you just start asking. Hey, what is a media kit? What is that? What does that do? What is what? Why do we have this booth? Why do we have this booth? What's that little room in the booth? There's a little room, a little door. Why are these people going in this little room in the booth? Why aren't they hanging out here at the TVs? Oh, those are the reporters. They're writing for their beat on Kotaku, or they're doing this, or oh, okay. And how much does that guy make? And what does he do? And and those questions and that curiosity sparked from hands-on experience. So to answer your question, I think what you get from not going to school is hands-on experience. And I always tell Marcus, experience over education every single time, because the education is in the experience. So now I'm a seasoned marketer 10, 12 years later. And I run a marketing agency called Gold Standard Gaming, and we have some amazing clients. But before that, I was just a kid who played Xbox and really loved it and began to start going to trade shows and going to events and commentating, and then learning about how events are structured and the way the TO, the tournament operator, makes money, and learning how these things work to understand the functionality. And eventually I got into E-League at Turner Broadcasting, and that was game changing because obviously when you work at a corporation like Turner, you get to see things at a high level with high talent, high production. And that's when I started GSG, because I finally got to the point where I was like, I think I can carve out my own niche in marketing. And we pivoted 3 times. Started as a talent agency. All right. Remember that, Marcus. Started as a talent agency. And since it has changed, but my foot in the door came through my passion and knowledge of the industry that I gained from just getting my hands muddy and dirty.
So let's talk about that. So how did you pivot, or you're pivoting now, but how did you go from that to actually making music and being on DOA as one of the cover songs? Like, how did that process work? Who did you have to talk to? Did they have their own in-house producer? Did you make everything yourself? How did that process go?
That's a good question. That all happened at the same time. It's simultaneous. That's why I talk about with getting your hands dirty. One of my favorite shows growing up, shout out to all the 90s kids, the Magic School Bus. Miss Frizzle used to say, you got to take risks and get messy. And I always just think of that when I would do something that my parents would be like, yo, you're crazy. You're going where? You're going to jump on a train, just go to Philly. You're meeting up with, think about this. You're like 17 years old and your parents are like, like, what are you doing this weekend? You're going to Wilmington, Delaware to meet up with these guys that you talk to on the internet, and you're just going to go play them in a video game, and you're going to bring money and versus them in money matches. And what? That's what it was like. They just thought it was crazy, but you take risks, you get messy. When someone says that, you're kind of like, you even double take it yourself. You're like, yeah, I guess people don't do this, or they end up on the news. And then, you just take those risks, you get messy. And then when it came to music, I mean, look, I have an insane connection and love for hip hop. There's just nothing to be mistaken there.
Wait. Gotta ask there. We're not gonna include Biggie and Tupac because they're immortal, right?
Yeah.
Top 5 dead or alive. Gotta give it to me.
Oh, that's so hard. 5. Like I always want to ask people that, like, why 5? Like, why 5? There's so many rappers that are so amazing. Like, you're gonna be insulting yourself. If I ask you, Mario, you're gonna feel bad. You're not gonna tell us, but you're gonna tell number 6 when you turn the camera off. You in it, kinda. You're my 5. You in it. You're gonna hear that song they have, and you're gonna be like, you're in it. I just forgot you. I mean, there's too many at this point. We're at 50 years of hip hop. You know, and it is. I have a personal top 5, but I only tell you my top 1 because I feel like this doesn't get said enough, and it's because of his greatness being as high as it is. But I think that the best rapper we've had and we have is Nas. I just think that there's just no question to his ability, his storytelling, his longevity. You talk about a guy who never really tried to sell records more than
Yeah.
just tell his and the story, and he's going on 30 summers now. So uh, that to me is just indicative of what I believe hip hop was supposed to be, and he comes from that era that we call the golden era. So like, you know, here he is now with the guys of today's age doing features with them and still maintaining the interest of the Gen Z audience. And you know, he's from back when, you know, we was all little. So
Yeah.
I just think that it just can't be you know, it just can't be overstated. Nas, I would say that to answer your question. Nas is my number 1. But I love hip hop, and that's what started me on the journey to you know, rapping. I had a little rhyme book, and now my rhyme book's got 1,300 songs in it. And it's been a journey. I'm real good now, but again, just like gaming, I've been doing it for years. So of course I have a skill set now. And Showdown was able to happen because again, I was somewhere between trying to be that pro player Marcus said, right? I'm 20, 21, trying to be that pro player and recognizing that the 17-year-olds are all starting to beat me. And so I got to figure out a way to make money because I'm not going. I used to go to tournaments and win quick 500, quick 600, you know, like that was kind of my hustle. And then it started being like, I'm getting 4th, I'm getting 5th. I'm not like winning. You know, I don't really have the time. I got a girlfriend now. These things are changing. I'm getting my own apartment. And then it just started clicking to me. I need to start going to these E3s, getting my foot in the back then, you know, you didn't, especially, you know, because I didn't go to college and learn maybe the jargon or the terminologies. So back then, all of us who were trying to get in the industry used to be like, get our foot in the door. That was just the term you use, get your foot in the door. So somewhere in between that, I was able to get a mentor who actually helped create Dead or Alive, Tom Lee. Shout out to Tom. He was one of my great mentors, you know, and still is. He teaches me a lot of you know, a lot. He taught me a lot, and he helped me really understand, you know, the industry, the marketing and creative side of the industry, which has led to, you know, a great journey for me. But yeah, I think just getting your hands muddy, the music is included in that, man. Like I'm just somebody who like I'll go to the studio and study a data set in the same night. Like that's who I am.
So to that point, we don't got to get deep into the details, but so from a publishing standpoint, you know, each time that's played, do you also get points and credit for that as well, or it's like kind of like a one-time thing?
It's a one-time thing for in-game,
Okay.
but I own the rights to the song, and I still, you know, it still streams and gets played. It's been played over 1 million times. It's cool. It's one of the cool things in my life because I'll go back and look at it and just think like we made it in a basement in Connecticut. Shout out to my guy Luke Fish and all the guys at the pond. That's what we called it. We were basically at his parents' basement, and we called it the pond. And we recorded it, and it was crazy. We sat down and played it, and they put it in the game, and we were just like, that was a moment, right? Like that's experience. I can't tell you what it felt like to have that happen. Like for someone at Tecmo Koei called me and was like, "Yo, Chosen, you're not gonna believe this. Did you see the trailer? Did you see the trailer? Did you see the trailer?" I'm like, "Oh, I already knew DOA was coming. I had been to Japan. I had worked with them. So again, I knew from the gaming standpoint, like I was involved with Tecmo Koei and Dead or Alive. So I was happy about that. The rap, I was still like a year and a half into like my, you know, I'm at album number 4 about to come out, but that was just post album 1. So I'm younger. I'm kind of like, you know, I like to tell Mario, I can rap, I can rap, I can rap. You know, I'm like that. And so when he called me and told me, I was like, oh yeah, cool. He's like, no, wait till you play it, wait till you play it. And shout out to Sean Cochran. This is your story. He called me. He was like, it's playing in Australia and it's gonna start playing in America next week. And I played it, and it was a dope Dead or Alive ad. It was an ad, you know, whatever. But then in like the middle of it, the song started playing. And I remember like in the middle of the commercial, and I was like, what? Like, what? And that just experience right there was another time. It's like, you I wrote that song 20, 25 minutes, and I wrote it on my phone upstairs in my mom's house, and it was just kind of like to see that happen in this game. That 5 years I was the kid in the room playing the game, and for it to just come to fruition, I've probably been different ever since that moment, because it was another moment where I was like, if you put the work in, you can bring it to life.
Yeah, it's the Eminem saying, "Vibing on the shirt already, mom's spaghetti." It's like the best rhymes is made at the mom's house, right?
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, bro, like, you can make it. That's what that gave me, is like, yes, all the publishing, yes, all the royalties and all the business part. I'm lucky I was able to do that. Right, Tom took care of me there, because people get advantage taken of. But it happening was something that I want everybody to know. I'm looking right at you. Like, that is experience, right? Like, that is what powers me today to my success, is remembering when I get sad like you, or I get angry like you, or I think that I'm getting the short end of the stick like you, I can recall on that moment and think like, nah, we just got to push a little harder. So that's what that will give you.
So let's kind of go further with that. So from a business, because it's all about the moolah when it comes to me. We're helping you make moolah at least. Like, how important is it to have your business in order? Because you can have a great idea, have a great concept, or have something like that happen overnight. But if the business is not in order, you can be taken advantage of. So tell individuals why it is so important to get your business dealings in order before you take the step.
Yeah, I think compliance is a big deal, because you got to be able to show what you're doing, right? Like, you got to show it, because at a certain point, and I'm sure this is more of a Mario thing, so I won't talk too much. I only do that when the gaming comes up. But the financial thing, I think I would lean on Mario to ask, like, the importance of due diligence is so that people who are being the financiers, or the people who are in it for the money, or the moolah, as you say, isn't it more important that the numbers talk than you doing the talking? I think you talking about how great your business is not as important as the numbers. And as a financial expert with years of experience, would you agree with that? Oh, that was a question for you, Mario. Sorry, kind of turned it.
Now, sorry, now sometimes I think it was lagging. Technology not working. What was the question again?
I think I was wondering, like, would you say that when it comes to business, having your finances and your information in order is more helpful for, like, raising money or gaining partnership and ways to get your business to grow? Having your numbers speak louder than your words is kind of important in those aspects.
Oh yeah, of course. And I have clients that are business owners, and even from like making a financial decision standpoint, like I wrote a book about it. It's called The Relaxed Investor, right? So the R is research, the E is evaluate, the L is locate, analyze, execute. So you research,
I like that.
you evaluate, you locate that investment opportunity, because we can research and evaluate something, but if we don't locate the right opportunity, we're just wasting our time, right?
Right.
We analyze. When you analyze, you're not analyzing that investment, you're analyzing yourself, right? And we kind of take you, right? You spent so many hours practicing before you actually went to a tournament. So you knew, if I win, if I lose, if I make money, don't make money, I'm good because I am going through this process. That's analyzing, right? You analyze how you would feel before you took that step. So you do that from an investment standpoint. And then the X, like VMX, is execute, right? So just by making a decision, if you kind of go through that pathway, it'll allow you to make better decisions, be a better person in business and gaming. So that's just from an investment standpoint. But from a pure raising money standpoint, we got to get the numbers straight, because if a person is coming out their pocket giving you 5, 10, I mean, the largest, investment I did, was over 200 grand, you know what I'm saying? So like, that's a lot of money, right? And people work hard to raise that type of money to give to a person. So you have to have everything in order. Not only that, but you also have to be transparent, because if a person is going to invest in your business, he or she's going to ask you for the books, going to ask you do a background check, where your mama stay, where your grandmama stay, how many kids you got any liens, you know what I'm saying? We do background checks. So
Right.
you got to be open to give out all the information. But if your numbers are not correct, if your vision is not documented, it's going to be very tough for you to receive any funding. So
Right.
so
No, makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, that's pretty much, I didn't want to go into that because we have the expert here. So thank you for helping me out because I don't know all the terms, but I know they'll look for your mama house, your grandmama house. That's right. I know that part. I know that part.
Sebastian, you were on the show Ultimate Gamer, so there was 15, 20 of you. Do you know if anybody else of that cohort was thinking about how they manage their finances, like as they're in the moment, potentially winning prizes and getting all the kind of ancillary value that comes with that opportunity?
I think that we were all from pretty different economic backgrounds. It's a great question, Marcus. We were all from different economic backgrounds. So I think we got someone from Restream in the building. That's pretty cool. I think people were from different backgrounds, but you definitely had one guy who his dad passed him down a business. So he was not only educated in business, but he already had something lined up. Um, he had everybody from someone like that to one girl who was on the show. She knew she wanted to be in the gaming industry. She was like, I literally don't care if I win the show. I mean, from the beginning, looking back on that now, she was like, I just want to be like a talent in the industry. And she's one of the biggest casters to this day. So shout out to Rachel. She's a huge caster and she works with Pokemon in Japan and all over the place now. And that was her goal. I remember that. I remember she had just got out of Rutgers and she was like, I just want to get in this industry, and I think this show is a great way, and it did. It worked for her, and then everything in between, and then you had like one end of the spectrum was like the guy who his dad owned the business, was going to pass it down to him, and he was already financially educated. To the youngest kid on the show who was 19 years old and had no clue what he was going to do. He just knew he was going to buy a BMW if he got that $100,000. I was that kid. I was him. So, financial education varied on the show. I don't think they picked us based on what we thought about. And I think a lot of people don't. So It's great that you and Mario are doing the show to bring that thought process and put some flavor on it. So it's not so, well, what you need to do is be an astute investor. Like no one wants to do that. No one wants to do that. Just keep it 100 and we'll all learn together.
Yeah. So let's piggyback on that. So I think that's because, especially nowadays, we hear about financial literacy, how important it is. But even in a setting where we're going to give you money, probably have attorneys involved that kind of help the show, kind of help from a client standpoint, financial people that fund the show. Why not educate the cash, the talent, make sure that they blow the money if they can?
I don't think it benefits them. I think just like any other industry, music is a great example. It benefits you to be needed. So a lot of people don't want to educate and make somebody independent. I think that's just the nature of the structure of a lot of these business models. It's like they're not looking to me. Somebody's got to be the owner. Somebody's got to be the worker. So I think when you empower somebody, they naturally begin to want to duplicate what you and them may have built, and a lot of people don't want to kind of let go of the ownership or let go of the knowledge based. So you get that, and then again, it's just it needs to be more, even when it's not something like sinister like that or underhanded, and it just is the nature of the beast. I mean, no one held me back from knowing about finance. It's kind of like just my situation. I spent, again, while you were in school for learning all this moolah stuff, and Marcus was learning coding, I was just playing DOA a bunch. That's the cost of doing business, is that I wasn't on Mario's financial course learning what I could have learned already. I didn't get Relax the book yet. See? And that's my problem. And now I don't know how to relax.
Well, you can relax on that plane to Africa. So tell us about like that and how that come about. I mean, that's just amazing. You being able to do that. So let us know about that.
Yeah, so actually I leave Sunday, which is crazy. Like, when you start to get to where you're like, oh yeah, Sunday. So that's where I'm at now because we have a bunch of work at the agency. So I'm trying to wrap everything up to get ready for it. And one of our projects is a tournament called the Chosen Championship. Shout out to Questy Hayford, Herbert, the team helping me over there. We're ecstatic. We really want to be a leader in esports in Ghana. We're working with the Esports Association Ghana. And it's really kind of a first step into our foray into empowering diasporans across the world. And we know that it kind of feels like, oh, so you think you're empowering diasporans by making them play video games. Well, we think there's benefits to video games, but we also think that video games are a great way into computer science and technology and all the industries in the world that are booming and create jobs and opportunities and move way past that $48,000 a year. But we don't see a lot of diasporans worldwide. There's less than 5 or 10% diasporans in all of these tech companies. So that's Meta, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. You just look across Google, and there's 5% or less of diasporans worldwide, UK, Africa, obviously US, in these large companies. These are the biggest companies in human history. Apple's $1 trillion company. They are a bank. They provide credit cards. Their lowest paying role is 92,000. So if the median school, or if the median income for a person with a degree is 48,000, then something doesn't make sense. And we already know that for minorities, because of history, it's been a little bit harder to get into the spaces to even make that 48,000. So we hope that esports will allow us to gain relationships with the chief age group over there in Ghana is 19-year-old male. So we hope to tap into that audience and educate them on the stuff that you teach, Mario, and the stuff that Marcus teaches with coding and the entrepreneurship and Google Cloud certifications and things like that can allow them to get better career paths and obviously help their community grow and help the diasporans worldwide get stronger and create opportunities and wealth.
So just to clarify, 32 to 35. So of course we have people that are 50 and 60 that should be making more than 48,000 a year, but your age demographic, 32 to 35.
Okay, yeah. Excuse me then. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But you could still be 32 to 35 and take 6 months to get a Google certification and get a 6-figure job. It takes 6 months to get that cert, and then you can get a 6-figure job. So the lesson's still the same, and we hope that the Chosen Championship will bring interest to gaming, computer science, the conversation, the lifestyle, because a lot of the tournament scene is growing over there, and we kind of want to exacerbate it and show them what happens, obviously in my case, after you get off the sticks.
Yeah, and I would love to hook you up. I have a friend of mine, he lives in D.C. His name is Kobe Akun, and he's from Ghana, and he has an educational foundation where we donate, and it goes directly towards education and funding education initiatives in Ghana. So we'd love to make that connection to see how
amazing. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Making great connections.
Even last week, Matthew was on the show, and he has a game that teaches you like business fundamentals, accounting, marketing, everything you need to run a business, right? So we're talking about not having to even go get an MBA. And if you want to go get an MBA, you have that option, but you don't have that obligation anymore.
Right. I agree. I saw that last week, and that's the point. It's like experience is going to take you very far, and that's why I'm trying to go over there and provide these players with the experience, right? So for me to get into that E3 where I was asking a million questions and, how can I get in this industry? How can I do that? That all sparked from me for going to my first time ever. Let's rewind back, 2007, right? I'm like 16 years old. I got school on Monday. I'm over in Philadelphia off a train, and I'm in the top 3 players. And like people are saying this gamer tag I made up, or my friends made up, Chosen One. People are saying, oh, that's Chosen One. I know him from this. That kind of empowerment, really, really brought me a sense of who I was. It gave me a sense of pride. It made me feel like even though school isn't my favorite thing, even though I'm not the richest man alive right now, even though I do have an uphill battle coming in front of me, I feel like I'm definitely prepared to do it because I love this game. I've met these people that I do not know. And Janae said, yeah, you're going out and meeting people at hotels that strangers. It's like, it's true. It's true. But in that, I was able to find myself. And so I'm hoping to go over here to Accra. And we have a lot of signups, man. It's like 170 people registered. So,
wow.
Yeah. So, and look, there's no mistake, right? We're giving the biggest prize pool away. We're giving away 30,000 Ghanaian cedis, which can help, these kids who win it, it's going to help them. And so that feeling that those people get for coming and competing, getting cheered on, winning, having the money, we're going to track their stories, you know, what they do, what they continue to do, and whether they go that professional route, whether they learn the skill, whether they help, you know, push their education. That's what this is all about in the end of the day. So, you know, that's what the Chosen Championship's about, and that's what Digital Diaspora is all about.
Yeah. So I know we're out too much time, but as we do talk about finances, a certified financial planner, you would be helping with the stocks, your stock of the year. If you close your eyes, right, and you put up your eyes this time next year, which stock do you think is going to grow the most on the stock market? No, nobody.
I happen to have the perfect stock for everybody here. That was the golden question. In fact, we can end on that question. There is only one game. There's only one game. I think you know this, Marcus. I told you this already.
Go ahead.
No. Okay. Go ahead. There's only one game. Let me get my mic. There is only one game that will outperform every game in the history of video games, as it does every time it's released. Okay? Every time this game is released, it outperforms every game that's ever come before it, including its previous iterations. And this game has not released in 10 plus years, but it is on the horizon for a 2024 release. The stock. Well, first, I just want to give everybody a second. Do you know what game I'm talking about?
Let's see. Can we get some guesses in the chat?
Do you know the game I'm talking about? Mario, do you know the game I'm talking about?
Drum. I have no idea what the game is.
I have an idea. I don't want to spoil it. I have an idea though.
I talk to you all the time. I know you know that. I know you know this already. The game, and I think we're on delay, so it'll be perfect because they won't get the answer until right now. But the game is Grand Theft Auto. And so Grand Theft Auto 6 is reported to come 2024. And I mean, to put perspective in, Grand Theft Auto 5 made $1 billion last year. Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013. So there is absolutely no question that game will sell. I mean, it made as much money as like the entire industry made, you know, a year before it, outside like Call of Duty. It made as much money as like the entire industry made 10 years later. And so you got to know that the new one, there hasn't been one in 10 years. This is the first one on PS5, the new Xbox, everything, the graphics, even the leak, right? Even the leak that happened last year. There was a leak where like someone from the inside leaked a little bit of footage of Grand Theft Auto 6. The world almost stopped. The world almost stopped. Social media froze. Like people were shook by the level of detail that's coming into this new Grand Theft Auto. So that said, the stock is Take-Two Interactive. Take-Two Interactive. They only.
You see my screen?
You got Take-Two. Yeah. That's incredible. Look, he's got it already. Yeah. He's got it. I have a bunch of Take-Two, and I don't do like these candlestick day trades. This is for the geniuses. I just use Cash App, and I made a lot of money in the stock market. So
okay.
So I need to get better with the kind of more beastly like trading view type of stuff. But I mean, look, I follow my nose. That's what I got taught about stocks, and I made some good money on Meta, and I have made some money on Take-Two. But you will make much more on Take-Two over this next year if you buy it and hold it, because when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, it is probably going to stop the show. You can forget about it. I mean, you can forget about it. Grand Theft Auto, just look at the number. I don't got to tell you, Mario. I'm looking at your stock. You already know.
Yeah. So that's a great segue. So last year, right, 2022 was the second worst year of the stock market this millennium, and Take-Two went down by 58%. So from an investment standpoint, basically when a stock goes down by 50%, when it goes back up, it goes to 100, right? So it goes from $100 to $50. When it goes from 50 to 100, you double your money. So to your point, it went down like crazy. But then if we see what it has done here, and I love using numbers, right? So it's already up by 68%. So if you bought it at its low early this year, you would have made 68%. So to your point, if it gets back to where it was, don't jump on me, Mario. right? That's another 60% gain, my brother. Well,
Yeah.
45% gain. So the person, I'm not recommending the person to do it, right? So certified financial planner like myself. But if a person invests into it today, if it just gets back to where it was, not including all the growth that's going to happen in 2024, but just get back to where it was at a 45% gain on money. The S&P 500 takes about 9% a year. So I mean, 45%. That's like being stock market for 5 years. You can make it in one take two. So that is a great pick. Great pick.
Yeah, dude. They
But
only
yeah,
make another game too. They have another game. If you're thinking about their business model and if they'll be here, you should take the CFP's expertise. But if you want to take the gaming expertise, they only make another game that sells 19 million copies every 365 days, and that is NBA 2K.
uh,
And so they only make a game that every 10 years sells $10 billion of copies, but then they also make one every year that sells 19 million copies. So they're in pretty good shape, and it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. So I
yeah,
would say Take Two Interactive is one that you can just put your money there and be sure that you might have to ride, those dips like Mario's telling you, but you'll come out. I have, and you see he is. I've come out on the other side. That company is really really strong, and I think you're safe putting your money in Take Two.
so you said 2024 when summer, fall.
Oh, it'll probably be a winter release. They're gonna do it at Christmas. You know how it goes.
Okay, yeah.
They're gonna do it at
So
Christmas.
yeah, so from an investment standpoint, they always say you want to buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yeah,
So when it starts being a rumbling that is coming out, probably early next year, I'd imagine they probably have like a good 6 9 month runoff. That's probably the best time to buy it as it
grab it,
scales up,
grab it.
right? And then of course when it comes out, you're gonna have people that love it, people that hate it. You know how Twitter is. Now I don't know if it's gonna be a Twitter in late 2024 or 2025 because we got threads.
Touche,
Zuckerberg is taking it over. You know what I'm saying?
touche.
So between Twitter and Thread, it's going to be a lot of people that's not going to like it. So come late 2024 when it comes out, you might actually want to sell that stock because if it goes down, you can buy it again at a lower price. So
Man, listen. Now I want to now that's logic. Listen to him. Only listen to me with a grain of salt with your saltine crackers, but make this a crispy cracker. Boy, that's GTA. You know what time it is.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
GTA has been revolutionizing. Do not forget. Now, it is the darker part of our human society. But like, let's make no mistake. I'm not telling you to get it for your kids, but I'm telling you they're gonna want it. they're gonna
yeah,
they're gonna want it. Everybody in this chat has played Grand Theft Auto, and that is the amazing thing about that title from an objective standpoint is that every age group from young to old has played this title. It has and let me take away from I don't want to before I go here. It would be unprofessional for me not to just call it the dark side of human, nature or whatever. They are great storytellers. They they
oh
they,
yeah,
they tell fantastic stories that are captivating and entertaining and engaging, and that's why I believe the product will just do what it has always it is proven in sales. It is a dominant force when it comes, right? So um I expect it to do well, whether Twitter or haters or do whatever, they're gonna hate, but they're gonna buy a copy. So that's what I
yeah,
would imagine. Listen, guys,
yeah.
thank you for having me, man. This has been so fantastic. And I'm just really grateful to everybody who showed up tonight. We got a lot of people in the building. You guys are popular. Thank you for having me on here. Mario, I'm hoping I can learn more from you. As I keep making money, I need help. And Marcus, of course, it is just a pleasure always working with you, talking with you, kicking it with you. And I'm looking forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, for sure, man. Appreciate you for making time to be on the show. And before you leave, can you talk a little bit about the book? Like all three of us are authors, and we talked about Mario's book. People have seen the Innovate book. You have your own book. If you want to do a quick plug for that.
I do. Sometimes I forget. I do so many things. And that's not even me like, oh, I do so many things. It's like literally I'm just like so like all over the place. I forget. So there's a book called Esports Unlocked. It's on Amazon. If you message me, I'll just send you a copy. It for me, it's just about educating those who like it pretty much just nails down 5 hacks that can get you into the esports and gaming industry. I know Amy earlier was kind of looking for a way in. It's like 5 hacks that will really get you a shot in the door, from commentary to being a brand ambassador, to using Canva to create graphics for teams, to using LinkedIn, which Marcus taught me so much, and I've made so much money and had so much business through LinkedIn since Marcus has really schooled me. And just different ways to get into the industry outside of picking up the sticks. They're all tried and true. They have the hacks behind them. Oh, and I was thinking of what's number 5, because I said LinkedIn, commentary, brand ambassador, Canva, and then 5 is I just lost it again. No, 5 is
Commentary.
I did commentary. I said commentary, LinkedIn. I don't have it in front of me. What is it? Oh, Fiverr.
Fiverr. Okay,
Fiverr. So Fiverr has been really great because you can offer services as well as acquire services that can help you scale. The agency, we used to use Fiverr a ton in the beginning because it allowed us to offer services that we didn't have in house and outsource it. And it's a great way to scale a business and get your customers and get yourself revenue so you can grow. So it's a great book. It's called Esports Unlocked. Check it out. It's really great. Super. I don't make things complicated. Really easy read. And just has the facts. Like, I just give you the gems. Like it's going to give you, like, I'll give you an example. In the Fiverr chapter, I just give you my 5 Fiverr sellers, my video editor, my social media manager, my email writer, like the people that helped me get to where I'm at today. I just give you their information, so you can just go right to their page on Fiverr and say, hey, Chosen sent me, and I want to write these emails, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, and they'll send you. So each chapter is filled with just the gems. I don't put fat in it. I hope it helps you out. So thanks a lot, Marcus, for reminding me. Esports Unlocked. Check it out.
No problem. Mario, if you want to pick one person out of the audience, our guests, join us tonight, who will win a digital copy of your book, a digital copy of my book. Sebastian, if you'll be so generous to donate a digital copy as well.
Oh, me first?
Hey, you pick one person, and then they'll win all 3 books, digital copies of all 3 books.
Let's go with Janae, because she's been in the comments like crazy, and she is definitely yeah. Let's go with Janae.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for your time. Next week we'll be speaking with Don Daglow. He was the person he's been in the gaming industry for decades. He coined the term the video game industry crash. We've talked about it before. That massive crash that happened in the industry from 1983 to 1985. He coined that term. He'll be joining us to talk about that time period and his experience in the industry.
It's incredible. I'll be tuned in, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you for having me, guys. It was a great time.
See you next week.
See you later.